It all began when Miss Moppet overheard Mr. McGregor's wife telling Mr. McGregor how frustrated she was with Miss Moppet's lack of interest in catching mice. Mrs. McGregor kept emphasizing to her husband that if they didn't act quickly, their house would soon be infested with mice. Miss Moppet knew that what Mrs. McGregor was telling her husband was true. Mr. McGregor, with much empathy, said to his wife that Miss Moppet was old, and they should not expect her to keep the mice away from the house. After much heated discussion, Mr. McGregor finally agreed that it would be best to give Miss Moppet to their grandchildren who lived in the city. Miss Moppet did not want to leave Willow Tree Meadow and go live in the city. She also knew to stay in Mr. McGregor's house, she had to find a way to rid the house of those mice. The mice were much too fast for her to catch, so to catch them, she had to come up with a clever plan. Miss Moppet needed a plan that would allow her to catch the mice without having to chase after them. Miss Moppet thought of a fantastic idea on how she could get rid of the mice. She decided to put her plan into action the next day. Miss Moppet woke up early and found a nice place in the middle of the floor where she would play dead. She then laid on her back with her feet up in the air. She kept one eye closed while the other eye she kept half open to see how the mice would react. It was not long before the mice came out of their hole. Miss Moppet stayed motionless as the mice hesitantly came closer. The mice were somewhat surprised to see Miss Moppet laying upside down on the floor. They were even more surprised when she did not run after them. As the mice became more comfortable with the fact that she was dead, they began to run around freely, playing and squeaking with glee that the cat was dead. Miss Moppet noticed, as she laid motionlessly on the floor, that the mice that were playing were only the baby mice. She thought to herself how easily these silly young mice were acting. The baby mice had forgotten how tricky she had been in the past. Soon I will rid the house of all the mice and show Mr. and Mrs. McGregor that I'm not too old to keep their house safe.
He felt he could
catch lots of mice
if he
played dead.
Those silly mice
Would come too close.
if he
Played dead. He'd have his lunch.
and dinner too.
He would soon be dead.
Mama Clarita paused a while and then took a sip of her tea. Papa Pete, intrigued with the story, asked, "What happened next?"
Well,
continued Mama Clarita,
Miss Moppet realized that there was one problem that she didn't foresee in her plan. The mice that thought she was dead were only the baby mice. The parents had never come out. Catching only the baby mice would not solve her problem. Miss Moppet had to catch the parents first. Then she could easily catch the baby mice. Miss Moppet woke early the following day to make the necessary preparations to catch the parents. Miss Moppet knew that the baby mice would most likely go back and tell their parents that she was dead. She suspected that when the parents heard the news of her death, all the mice would come out to investigate. The adult mice would not be fooled as easily as their babies, Miss Moppet thought to herself, so she decided to alter her plan by climbing up on a door and hanging herself upside down as if she were dead. The mice, seeing her hanging limply and motionless, would think that her master had hung her on the door until he got time to bury her. Those silly mice would never dream that she had done this act herself. Miss Moppet then proceeded to climb up on the door. She carefully placed her feet on top of 2 large door hooks and then positioned herself upside down, facing towards the ground. She waited patiently for the mice. After some time, 2 large mice appeared and slowly approached her. Miss Moppet, with her eyes half open, could see it was only the parents. She wondered why the baby mice had not come too. She told herself that she would just have to concentrate on catching the parents right now. After ridding the house of the parents, the baby mice would soon grow weary, not knowing where their parents were, and come out. This would allow her the opportunity to catch them as well. Miss Moppet was growing anxious as the mice got closer. Just as the mother mouse was about to touch her paw, the father squeaked loudly.
He had never seen a cat
Hanging upside down. He realized it was a trick. They should not trust him.
Both parents left quickly. Miss Moppet thought the parents had gone to get their children. Hours passed as Miss Moppet hung on the door as she waited for the mice to return. The mice never came back. Tired and disgusted, she climbed down off the door. Miss Moppet knew the parents had not been fooled. She realized that she could no longer fool the mice with her trickery. Knowing that she could no longer catch the mice, Miss Moppet gathered all her things and left the farm.